Hi friends, today the topic is liberalism theory in international relations discipline. So let's start from the introduction. What is meant by the liberalism? It is the opposite and it is the opposition to the realism, normative character of liberalism, optimistic view of international relations. It means that the state power is not only the variable in the international relations but the peace, law, justice, non-state actors have also a fundamental role in international relations. Despite the common points concerning a stable international order based on international state upon the state relations of power, there are different opinions inside the liberalism. Liberalism internationalism. Bentham defended a federation of states was able to prevent the wars between its members, putting an end to the pattern of recurring to the war as a way of settling dispute. Like I was talking in the previous slide about the Kant, in the next slide the same view is available. Like between the interest of the nations, there is nowhere any real conflict. Gomden believed that the progress of the freedom depends more upon the maintenance of peace, the spread of the commerce and the diffusion of the education than upon the labors of the cabinet and the foreign offices. Bentham also presented that the federation state they are able to prevent the occurrence of the war if they can do the negotiation. There are the number of the ways they can settle their disputes between the interests of the nation. There is nowhere any real conflict because if the one nation is able to fulfill the interest of the other nation, so there is nowhere any real conflict can exist. Understand? It means that the liberalism is a theory that present us a view of the peaceful coexistence of the state rather than going for a war. Liberal internationalism. Liberal internationalism presumed that the state would be submitted to the system of the legal rights and the duties, but without the need of any world government. There is a natural order underpinning the human society and natural harmony of interest in the international relations. Liberal institutionalism. Liberal institutionalism is less normative than the idealism due to the trauma of the Second World War. Ambitious assumptions about building a peaceful order become illogical. Despite the less ambitions, the need to have an international body with the responsibility over the peace and the security was maintained. It means that the liberalism it presented that there should be a world government who is able to decide the disputes in a neutral way between the states. Whenever there is any dispute that occurs in any region or any continent of the world government is enough neutral to decide the dispute according to the law. The United Nations were created, but this time with the sense that the most powerful states would be essential to its survival, thus the need of the power arrangement within the Security Council. Liberal institutionalists defended the idea that the state is not able to cope with the modernization and as a missionary asserted transnational cooperation was required in order to solve the common problems. He also defended the ramification, the likelihood that the cooperation in one sector would lead to other sector, a fact later confirmed in Europe. After entering through such a process, the state will have a high cost in withdrawing from it. From Haas, international and the religious institutions were a necessity to sovereign state whose capacity is to deliver the welfare goals was decreasing. Afterwards, the US scholars, also called the pluralists, would reject the idea that the state is the sole actor important in international relations. Kohanian and I defending the certainty of the other actors, interest groups, transnational companies and NGOs. It means that the number of the scholars they were opposing the idea of the realist that the state is not only the sole actor, a sole superpower in the international relation. There are the number of actors they are also important. We can't ignore the role of the non-state actors, the transnational companies, the NGOs and the interest group, because they're beside the states they are also existing in this world. So we can't ignore their role, that how they can affect the performance of the state and the state actors. Pluralists right to characterize international relations through the existence of the multiple channels linked to the several actors. The biggest contribution of the pluralism was the notion of the interdependence. Okay, so there are the number of things we can't ignore in the liberalism theory. The first is the peaceful coexistence, rights and duties, they are interlinked, and the most important point, that is the interdependence, because no state can survive alone. The state the state as a international actor, they have needs that made them interconnected with the other world. So there is a concept of the interdependence in the liberalism theory. This concept characterizes a complex system of the interactions brought by the development of the capitalism and the mass culture, in which the actions in one of its parts had more and more consequences to the other part and affected, fatally undermined the state autonomy. That no state is fully independent because there is a concept of the interdependence, like the one state can contact the other state if he has natural resources, but he has a lack of the technological resources. So there is a system of the interdependence in the world, and no world can survive, no state can survive in the world alone. Even they are a developed state, they can contact with the developing states for the natural resources. In exchange of the natural resources, they give up their technological resources, man-made resources to the developing states. Liberal responses to the globalization. After the end of the bipolar system in the early 1990s and the rise of the globalization process, the liberalism has suffered a development and the present the new approaches. Those approaches are brought by the new liberalism, internationalism, new idealism and a new liberal institutionalism. Liberalism key concepts, as I have already talked with you, the collective security, the conditionality, and the cosmopolitan model of democracy, democratic peace, democracy promotion, and the enlightenment and the idealism. As according to the famous scholar, the name skip out from my mind, that the democratic state they can't go for a war with each other. There is a number of states who haven't democracy, because the one democracy they can't go for a war with other democracy. So it means that the liberalism theory it presents a very broader view that the collective responsibility is very essential. There is a need to make this world peaceful and free from the war, because as we all witness that the First World War and the Second World War, their destructions make the human distance from their loved ones, from their families, and this destruction not only destruct the family system but also it has a long lasting destructive consequences for the other nations as well. Integration, interdependence, liberalism, liberal institutionalism, liberal internationalism, normative pluralism, world government. as we have already talked that there is a impossible for the states, for the two states to settle their dispute. There's always a third party who settle the disputes among the states. If we talk in the domestic level, it simply happens in the international. Like the world structure is created from the local to from the domestic to the regional and from the regional to the international. It means that uh, from the lower to the upper part, same system it has been adopted, and that's why the world government is very important for the settlement of the disputes. Thank you so much. If there is any question, please comment below. I will answer you, and kindly subscribe my channel. Thank you. And if you want to uh, more videos regarding any topic, please comment below. I'm here to help you. If you need my help, if you need any assignments, please comment below. I will help you and I will guide you. Thank you so much, and that's all from the Vajiha's Learning Academy. It's the academy where you are able to know the knowledge and to have a different sort of knowledge from the different scholars. Thank you so much.